Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. Good to see you with us on this hashtag It Finally Friday. Good to have you with us. It's also Film Friday, and we've got a couple of special guests coming your way. We'll get to them in just a few moments, but this morning I'm live at the HCCTV podcast studios, and we have our co-host, you haven't seen him in a little while, Frank Cooper, joining us on the show. Frank is in the house. Good to see you, Frank.
Good morning, Todd. How you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm doing good. It's a Friday, and hey, if you didn't know, it's Super Bowl weekend.
It is. I think this past Tuesday, I finally got over my Chiefs loss, so I'm better now. I processed it. I went through all the different stages, so I'm good to go now.
Well, my condolences to you, Frank. I know how much of a fan of the Chiefs you've been, but we'll talk about that later on and your devastating loss and the fact that you'll have to watch the team that no one expected to get to the Super Bowl, the Bengals. Boy, who would have picked at the beginning of the year the Bengals are going to be in the Super Bowl? But you'll get to watch them in the Super Bowl this year. All right, Frank, stick around because before we get to our guest, I want to remind everyone's watching us Facebook Live and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. We're on HCCTV, the rebroadcast of the show at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. And you can also find us across all social media platforms. Where do they go, Frank?
Oh, man. So right now we're streaming on Facebook Live right now, YouTube Live. So to subscribe to the show on YouTube, just search HCC Community College, HCC Up to the Minute. Subscribe for all latest interviews as well. We're on LinkedIn, HCC Community College LinkedIn, and Twitter as well.
All right. That's right. Stick around, Frank. We'll be with you shortly because you're going to be talking to this next guest. It's Film Friday, and we have J.O. Malone, the executive director of the Black Film Festival, and he's our Film Friday guest. Good to see you, J.O. How are you?
Hey, Todd. How you doing? Rocking it out with the National Black Film Festival. You see the MBFF behind me.
Yeah.
So we're excited to let your audience know what we got going.
That sounds good. All right, stick around. We're going to be with you in about 10 minutes. So we'll grab some coffee. We'll be with you shortly. All right, we're going to kick things off now with one of our recurring guests. And guess what? He's also the new co-host of our show, Veterans Voice. We're talking about the director of Career and Job Placement Services, James Mable's on the show. Good to see you, James.
Good to see you, Todd. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. So let me ask you this. Okay, I know the story, but maybe you can tell the audience here. You are a veteran yourself. And when our former host left, he's running for a political office, so he left the show. We were kind of left without a host for Veterans Voices. So I talked with some of our producers around here, and we thought, let's reach out to James. He's always on all of our shows. And you seemed very eager to take over as the host of the show.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. We have some interesting stories to share with our audience. And I'm just very grateful for the opportunity.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking on this opportunity. Let me ask you, in which branch did you serve in the military?
I served in the United States Marines.
Okay, so you were a Marine. How long were you there? And what brought you into an education role?
So I was stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I served in the Marines for 2 years. And what brought me into education? I actually graduated college during the recession in 2008 and 2009. Yeah. And I actually went on to finish my master's degree after I graduated my bachelor's. And I was, again, grateful for the opportunity to actually work in a capacity to help people find jobs because I just had a very difficult time getting started in my career. I was doing like everyone else, applying for jobs, not getting any responses, not getting any interviews. So when I had an interview with American Intercontinental University, I connected with one of the interviewers. He had served in the Navy. We had a great conversation. And I was hired that day. It was on a Friday in August of 2011. And I will always remember that day. I was so excited. And it's just been an excellent tenure since then.
And you've been at HCC for a few years, and you fit right in with career services. You like helping people find a job. And I guess with our working with students, that's got to be ultra important because the students, need that direction. They need to learn how to write a resume, how to, things that many people take for granted, but how do you dress properly for an interview? What are the signals you want to give during an interview? And I think with career services, you guys cover all those bases.
You're exactly right, because the reality is it is a market and you have to compete. And, we talk about the Super Bowl and teams competing to win a football game. But at the end of the day, we've got to win to land jobs. And so how you present yourself on your resume, how you present yourself in the interview, all of that makes a huge difference in the eyes of the interviewer. So we do focus on those efforts to ensure students are successful in their job search.
Outside of your career, what drives you on a daily basis?
So health is wealth. We've all learned that in the last few years. Health is literally wealth. So a couple of things I do outside to stay focused and energized is I love to work out. I'm an avid bodybuilder. I weigh 250 plus pounds. Love to work out. I've been doing it for over 20 years. And I run 10 to 15 miles a week. And I just ran this morning 3.5 miles. And so that is what I'm doing a lot outside of work to stay focused when I do come to work and energized at work throughout the day.
Yeah, running really, for me, it clears my mind and it keeps me sane, because you get to expend all that energy out there, and kind of clear your mind while you're running. And this morning happened to be the mornings of the past week and a half have been a bit chilly for me. I prefer to wait till the late afternoon, early evening and get my runs done then. But I'll get back to the mornings when it warms up a bit.
Exactly. Running, I just feel so accomplished. After I finish, it just has an excellent feeling, and I know I'm being healthier by doing it. So it's been an excellent habit that I've built up over the last few years.
I want to get back to Veterans Voice because the first episode is out now. You can watch it on HCCTV and you can check it out in our social media. Was this your first time hosting a show of this sort?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, it was. And so I was a little nervous, and I hope everyone loves the show and our guests on the show. And again, Todd, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to engaging veterans and sharing stories with our student veterans.
Well, one of the things when we talked with you about doing the show is you really had a new take. You want to start telling those stories, not just connecting people with services, which are very important, which you'll be doing as well, but you wanted to tell the stories as well. And I guess that's special to you.
Yes, it is, because, with my own personal story, transitioning from the military and deciding to go to college and then starting a career, those steps, those chapters in life are not easy. And I want to make sure that we highlight those stories, because I think we can all be testimonies to veterans and people in general about making these sacrifices by serving in the military, getting out and adjusting to the civilian world, going to college. And sometimes you're going to college much later in life, getting used to that again, building studying habits. All of that is not easy. And so I want to make sure that our student veterans are always motivated by sharing other veterans' stories with them.
Well, James, we always enjoy speaking with you here. Before you go, I know you want to get a free plug out there for career services, because you guys are available at no cost to our students. And tell us real briefly where people can go on the website and get plugged in if they're a student looking to get into a job.
So students can go to hccs.edu/career planning. That's our website. But our portal is Career Hub, and that's more specifically hccs.edu/Career Hub. That's where students can schedule appointments. They can apply for jobs. They can schedule appointments, register for events. That is our portal where we assist students with their internship and job search.
James Mable, thanks for joining us on the show. Always good to see you, and congratulations again on your first episode of Veterans Voice getting out there. We're looking forward to seeing more. Thank you so much, Todd. Looking forward to it as well. All right, James, we'll talk to you soon. Okay, I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Frank Cooper. Frank, we're celebrating Black History Month, and you've got a guest on to talk about Film Friday and a festival that's going on. So I'm going to let you take that over with your interview with J.O.
Absolutely. So ladies and gentlemen, we have J.O. Malone. Executive Director of the National Black Film Festival, and our Film Friday guest. Thanks for joining us, J.O. How you doing today?
Hey, Frank. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. So first and foremost, we want to give a shout out to our filmmaking program coordinator, Jenny Waldo, for suggesting you for our Film Friday.
Awesome. Yeah, Jenny is awesome, and she's definitely a gem there at HCC for sure.
Absolutely. So J.O., so tell us why you started the National Black Film Festival.
When I was 25 years old, I actually produced my first featured film in Jackson, Mississippi. And I composed a crew. As a film producer, I composed a crew from Houston, Texas, and took this crew out to Jackson. And there weren't a lot of filmmakers that I knew that looked like me, right? That understood my culture and how I was trying to get things completed. And so I spent a lot of my time on that film production, really taking my staff out, my crew out to lunch, trying to say, hey, this is what I mean when I say this. When we're doing these things, this is what I mean. These are my expectations. And after 21 days of shooting with this crew, I came back and I said, I can continue to go in different places in America, small town America, go to LA and increase my superpowers in film, or I can come back home, develop something in my own community to teach filmmakers who look like me, who understand my culture, and start developing with them. And that's what birthed the National Black Film Festival.
I think what you're doing is absolutely groundbreaking, J.O. That's totally awesome. So I know with the pandemic, have there been any type of challenges or struggles during the last couple of years now?
Well, I think with everybody, just like we're doing now, right? Usually interviews like this, we'll be in studio, right? We'll be getting a coffee early, doing our whole thing, handshake and fist bump and all that kind of stuff. But now everything went virtual. And so we had to go into year 4 and 5, basically having virtual festivals, right? And so doing that, it's not the same thing. I'm kind of old school when it comes to it. I like to see people. I like to talk to people, feel their energy. And so we had to go virtual. We did some virtual conferences, still did our workshops and all of those things. But going into year 6 this year, we're getting back in person. We got to see people. We got to feel people. We have to, see what type of tapes they submit, all of those things. And so we were able to stay alive like most people and like most companies during the pandemic. But now it's time to get back to business.
And that's a perfect segue to my next question. So going to 2022, what is happening this year?
Yeah, so this year we'll be back at the AMC 8 in downtown Houston. We'll develop our acting workshops and our director workshops again. And trying to find what I want to do is, for me as a filmmaker here in Houston, I feel like I've been detached from the community because of the pandemic. And I want to find those directors, the up and coming directors and up and coming actors, and give those people a platform, the up and coming writers and DPs, and figure out where they are and meet them where they're at. Give them a platform where they can host a class where people come from all across the country to come and learn film from them, and then we can all learn from each other. And that's what the film festival does. We have people that drive all the way from Canada. We have some stories that people come from everywhere, New York, LA, and they come to Houston to learn film from our film festival. And so that's the special thing about what we've been able to do in a short period of time.
Now let's talk about the Houston film community. This is a 2-part question for me. Have you worked with a lot of people in the Houston film community? And I know over the last few years, people are now shooting more in Atlanta now and Texas now, and other states are not as tax heavy to shoot. How's that been for you as well?
For me, when I first got into the industry, coming out of college, everybody wanted to be a film director. Either you're a director or an actor, right? Because that's when we grow up, that's some of the only things that we see. That's what's in the billboards. That's what's in the stars and the lights, right? And so for me, I said, okay, well, no one's working together. Let me change my role. And that's when I changed my role to a film producer, so I can start supporting these different directors, so I can start hiring my crews and different things of that nature. And so I like to through my experience, I like to control the narrative around me, control what's happening. And so I've been in a platform where I've been able to hire crews. And the next phase for my film career is to actually be the investor, the executive producer of films when it comes to not only the hiring of the crews, but the money's actually coming from our source. Because if anybody in the industry knows, if that money is not in the account, it's a problem, right? And you could shoot it and get it done on a hope and a dream, but you want to be the one controlling it. And we have to change the narrative, especially when it comes to independent filmmaking. You want to make sure that you know where everything is coming from and how it's coming in.
Now, speaking of independent, do you fall more in line with independent, J.O., or are you more on the studio filmmaking side?
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting. For me, I'm independent. Everything that I do, from the National Black Film Festival or our retail store, Black Market, BLCK Black Market, is all from from the mud, from the ground. Right. It's all on the shoulders of myself and our community. And so that's for me, and control and ownership. I'm big on ownership. And I want to control those things. And you have to decide as a filmmaker, up and coming filmmaker, what you want to be. And then you can have a transition. You have a whole plan on if you want to transition from independent filmmaker and then be able to get things sold into, Netflix and the studio route, right? But what I see is independent is a long game. It's a lot harder, but you keep control. In the studio realm, you might have students that graduate from HCC. Now they work for Disney, or they work for Sony and different organizations, companies. Well, once you get into that system, you start living a certain lifestyle, right? You start getting these big Disney checks, but you're doing kid shows, but you really wanted to do horror films. But you have a lifestyle, you have to support that lifestyle. You grow up, you support your family, and now you get stuck into this box of this income that's happening. But when you own everything, right, you dictate what your audience is, what they're going to see. And if you want to do sports movies for the next 5 years, or if you want to do a rom-com, right, you dictate what that is. You move that. And so you really have to see, you have to see what fits for your life as well. And independent is extremely difficult, just like being an entrepreneur on your own. And studio jobs for me is more like that 9-to-5 corporate job, and I don't want nothing to do with it.
Just be careful, man, because one of my favorite directors of all time started independent.
Right.
You guys may know him as Ryan Coogler. I know some of his early projects. Fruitvale Station. He took off. I think at 27, he made his first major studio film, and now, 5 years ago, he made $1 billion Black Panther movie for Disney. Made $1 billion. So, so it's one of those. It's a balancing act of like what do you prefer?
And where did that $1 billion go? Did it go to Ryan Coogler's account first? Or and so you have to understand, and then where does the merchandise go? Who's making money off of the merchandise? And so for me, there is a Marvel, right? Some of us are the guys who create Marvel, and some of us are the guys who produce for Marvel. It's two different things, and you have to tell yourself who you want to be. Are you Bill Gates? Are you Steve Jobs? Who are you in this whole world? And we just have to be honest with ourselves on who we are in this industry. For me, long term, everything that you see that comes from me is built from me. There's no outside investors. And so that's my route. It's a harder route. Sometimes you see people, in the lights before you, but do they actually own anything? And can they continue to build wealth off of those opportunities?
Absolutely, J.O. Last question for you. I know you've been in the game for a while. You're a veteran in this game. What is your advice for up and coming filmmakers who are trying to get in this game of filmmaking?
Yeah, I think it kind of leads off of the last question. It's know who you are. Know your role. I used to play basketball, and when you're on the team, and film is a collective, community that you have to build with. So know who you are. know who you want to work with. If you're going in your 20s and 30s, film is a long game. So you want to know who you can work with, who you don't work with well. Know your personnel, the people around you, and start putting those pieces together. Who's the great directors that you get along with, the great writers, the script supervisors. Every piece to a film crew, you need to know those people and network with those people. You won't get along with everybody. James Harden just changed 2 teams in the last year, right? So you got to figure out who's your core and who you go with. And that's where you build, that's who you build with. Because, hey, I started in my 20s in film. I'll still be doing it in my 70s and 80s, hopefully, right? It's a long game. So you just got to make good decisions. Even if you hadn't made good decisions at this point, start making good decisions today and start building your empire.
Thank you so much, J.O., Executive Director of the National Black Film Festival and our Film Friday guest. We'll have more info in our poster after the show. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Malone.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
You too.
All right. Thanks, J.O. and Frank. A few HCC news and announcements. We've got some things going on. The Office of Student Life has several events lined up to commemorate Black History Month, some serious, some of them fun. One of them happening on Wednesday, February the 16th, Black Literature Matters, Racism as a Public Threat. That discussion will happen noon Thursday the 17th. Line dancing will also happen at 6 p.m. Thursday the 17th. And the Black History Video Contest is ongoing, and your deadline to submit is a week from today, next Friday, February the 18th at 5 p.m. You can commemorate Black History Month by submitting a video to share why celebrating is important to you. Get this, you get a chance to win $500 or actually $100 gift card. So you can win some cash in the form of a gift card. Okay. All right. Some more information on that. We'll have some information in our social media post. And Frank, a week from today, we've got our spring convocation.
Building a Resilient Tomorrow today will be in person to pay tribute to the HCC dedication and commitment to its students and Houston's future through these unprecedented times. That'll be Friday, February 18th. The morning session will be at 10 a.m. The afternoon session will be at 2 p.m. at HCC Central Auditorium. For more information about that, check the emails or register at hcs.edu.
So we want to talk a little sports. Before we do that, for the sake of time, I'm going to skip on down to our registration information. If you are looking to get some classes in before the spring semester ends, which realistically we're talking in May, you can still do that. You have the time to do it. They're going to be accelerated classes, but you can still get some credit hours in. Make sure you go to hccs.edu/apply. Okay, that's the first thing. If you want to take in-person classes, realize that they're very small. So you need to register now to ensure those hours. And it's also a good idea to start thinking about the summer sessions. And I know the fall sessions are going to be coming up. Registration for that will happen in a couple of months too. So be thinking about those things, but register today if you want to get some credit hours in. Okay, Frank, it was interesting because J.O. just mentioned James Harden. We'll start off with that. The Rockets, still the Rockets, they're rebuilding, truly rebuilding, and they got a long ways to go. But James Harden going for his third team in a span of 2 years?
Yeah. So yesterday, right at the trade line buzzer, he gets traded with multiple picks to Philadelphia for an exchange with Ben Simmons. At this point, man, with a bad hamstring, overweight, I was a James Harden fan for a long time, but
yeah,
he's starting to annoy me now. Like, I don't know what he wants. Like,
he wants a championship is what he wants.
Then stay in Brooklyn. Like Kevin Durant was literally a toe tap away of sending the Nets to the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Yeah,
and it would be Atlanta. There were reports that he didn't get along with Kyrie. He didn't like living in Brooklyn. It's like, bro, like, you got to sacrifice for a championship.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't get along, obviously, with some teammates, and now he's moving along to at least a team that's first place in its division. So we'll see where he can go with the 76ers and how long that lasts. So best of luck to him. Hey, big weekend right now. Super Bowl weekend. And I know you were a bit disappointed a couple of weeks ago when the AFC Championship eliminated your Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, it was literally a carbon copy of the game a month ago.
Yeah.
We got to a three score lead early in the first half, and in the second half, I don't know, man. Pat Mahomes he looked unsure of himself. He looked hesitant. There was no confidence. He was telegraphing throws. He didn't look like himself. I don't know what it is. Like,
well, I think I can tell you exactly what it is. People were already giving him heck because of his girlfriend and his brother in social media.
Yeah,
I've never seen siblings and a girlfriend, hated so much by the general public. Boy, that's crazy.
Yeah, if I'm Pat Mahomes or his agent, I'm
shutting them down. Yeah.
I'm saying, hey, don't mess with the money. Don't mess with the
money. Right. Your hanger-ons. If you want to keep hanging on, we need to just eliminate the social media posts. Yeah. Hey, so we got the Rams and we've got the Bengals. Your pick for the Super Bowl.
I got Rams 35-20.
Wow.
Stafford
you just don't.
Yep.
You don't think Joe Burrow is going to just pull this one off?
He's been, you know what? It's been a minefield with that horrible O-line. He's been surviving. I know he took 9 sacks against Tennessee. He got like 4 other sacks against Kansas City. This is the best D-line in football in town. And with the Rams, they acquired Von Miller. You got Aaron Donald, the best DT in football. They have Leonard Litter. I mean, it's too much. I don't think he'll be able to survive this on a neutral field. Well, really a home field for the Rams.
It's a home field for the Rams, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, but I'm going to have to take the Bengals because they're having a Cinderella season. They're hot, and you always go with the hot teams going into the playoffs. So we'll see what happens.
What's your score?
Oh, score? I'm going to go 35-34.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go very close, very reminiscent of the, or maybe let's say 37-34. We'll go by a field goal.
Okay. That's okay. That's
where I'm going to go.
One of the greatest games ever played. Then.
Yeah, I'm going to go by a field goal. Why not? Every playoff game, it was a great playoff weekend with all the games being won in the last few minutes or overtime. But hey, real quickly, the Texans have a new coach, Lovie Smith.
Yeah, I don't know what their plans are.
They don't either. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Lovie. I thought Lovie was unjustly fired in Chicago years ago after 9-7.
I think they should have hired him years ago when they hired O'Brien because he was interviewed back then.
I agree. I mean, you give Lovie a quarterback in Deshaun Watson way back when. He has a chance. In today's NFL,
we may have not got Deshaun Watson back then, and that probably would have been better. But he's got Davis Mills. We'll see how that goes. Lovie Smith, congratulations. Like I said, I think he should have been hired before Bill O'Brien. But hey, Frank, we're running out of time. Thanks for being here today. Next week, you'll be back on Friday, right?
I will be. Yes, sir.
All right. Always good to see you. And we'll see where Frank's Super Bowl picks go. Put some, you can put some stock in that Frank's, he's been pretty good with the playoffs.
I've been in the World Series, NBA Finals. I'm on a roll right now, man.
He's on a roll, so we'll see what happens. All right, Frank, thanks for being here today. Thank all of you for being here. Have a good weekend. Enjoy it. We'll be back Monday morning live at 10 a.m. with Up to the Minute.